Check out Paddy's new Kicker feature. If you fancy your team to run riot, add a kicker to your bet. And if your team win big, you win bigger. Paddy Power, you beauty.
Hello everyone, welcome along to the Racing Post Weekend Football Postcast. Bruce Millington, James Milton, Joe Champion, and from Paddy Power, the dashing Ed Quigley. We're here with all the winners, all the odds, and all the answers to my 6 questions which are coming up. We are looking ahead to 4 live Premier League games this weekend, plus all the other stuff further down the lists. All sorts of good value bets. Hopefully the boys are bursting with notes. So without further ado, we'll crack on. We'll do the 6 questions. 2 each, and then the one you wish you were asked. Not wish, but sort of feel like asking. So we'll start off with James Milton. You're in the box seat today. James, is there any way Everton won't finish 7th this season?
I'd have to say no. I mean, Mark Langdon does his big kickoff and has to put every Premier League team in order, and I think for most seasons he does start off with Everton as the linchpin in 7th, and then you kind of work your league table around that.
It used to be Aston Villa, by the way. Aston Villa used to be absolutely nailed on for 7th. Kind of early part of the century.
It's going to shock our younger listeners.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that the business they've done has kind of taken them further away from the rest of the field, but not quite up to the top 6. So yeah, no, I think they're nailed on.
Okay, nailed on for 7th. I don't suppose we're betting on 7th, Ed, are we? That's a bit of a blow, isn't it? Ed, where are you?
No, we don't have that on site. No.
Sorry, I was boring you there. All right, Joe, is there any value in is it the Carabao Cup? Have I got that right? Carabao Cup.
Carabao.
Carabao Cup, which is the League Cup to you and me after the draw.
I haven't seen the draw.
Oh,
so.
Great. Well, that's a bloody good thing. You haven't seen the draw? Right, OK, we move on. Jesus Christ. Right, Ed.
Be honest.
I saw
falling apart.
I saw bits of the draw. Arsenal have got Doncaster, which is Wenger-Ferguson, of course.
Oh, yeah, wow.
So that could be feisty.
Yeah,
that's my only contribution, I'm afraid.
You've saved the question. Thanks very much. Bloody champion. Right. OK, Ed Quigley, what will Barcelona achieve this season?
It's hard to know. They're obviously going through a massive transitional period, losing Neymar, and I don't know, a lot of people are unimpressed by their signings. I mean, they've obviously seen Paulinho. They're being linked with Ousmane Dembele and Coutinho. I'd imagine they'll only get one of the two of them. They probably will get one of them, I think, in the end. I mean, if you look at La Liga now, I mean, about a week and a half ago, Real Madrid were, I think they were even money. We've played only one fixture in La Liga, both teams won, and Real Madrid are now 8-15. There's been a massive gamble on them. Obviously beat them in the Super Cup there recently, pretty convincingly. I think Real Madrid, in fairness to them, the last few years when Barcelona have dominated, they've acquired well in the terms of the Asensios, Dani Ceballos, they've, instead of going for Galacticos the whole time, they've invested in the top tier Spanish youth, and it seems to be coming to fruition now. But yeah, I think Barcelona will have a tough season this season. I mean, I think they're around 7-1 for the Champions League, which is incredible price really, given the last few years. And
what are they for the league?
For the league, they're 6-4.
And what are they 8-11 Real Madrid or 46?
Yeah, it's 8-15 Real Madrid for La Liga.
Right, yeah, of course. And what price Atletico?
Atletico are 30-1.
Oh, blimey, they've completely gone then, have they? OK, so you think it could be a bit of a struggle then for Ernesto Valverde and his mob, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a transition season for them, yeah, definitely, yeah.
OK. James, in the Championship, everyone's been beating each other. Normally you get 1 or 2 teams emerge dominant. Do you think this year we're going to get that? And if so, who? Or might we still be messing around at Christmas with you could throw a blanket over them?
I think there's certainly kind of 4, 5, 6 teams who, early indications suggest there's not a great deal between them. I mean, Middlesbrough, everyone thought would go well, but you look at their squad, they're not the kind of side who's going to turn on the style and thrash people every week. Fulham have made a slightly iffy start, but I think they could improve. And it's amazing, you see kind of Ipswich, I think, have won 4 out of 4, and their shot stats are absolutely horrific.
Oh, are they? That's an outlier, is it?
I think their kind of points expectation would be about 2, and they've got 12. But yeah, and teams like Cardiff as well, it'd be interesting to see if they can kind of live up to the market expectations.
Have you got a strong fancy at this stage in the division?
I still think Fulham have got plenty of scope for improvement, but it's a very tough one to call, I think.
How are you betting on the Championship now, Ed?
Yeah, it's still Wolves' favourites at 3-1. Middlesbrough 3-1. Yeah, despite their loss last weekend. And then it's Middlesbrough 13-2, Cardiff 15-2, Fulham 10s, Norwich, Villa, Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday are all 14s, Derby 18s, Sunderland 20s, and 25s Barland.
Okay, right. I'm afraid to ask Joe anything now after he completely took the rug away from me with the Carabao Cup. I'll tell you what, we go. Have you watched any football this season, Joe?
Yeah.
Good. Right, what's your favourite Premier League kit so far? Home or away or third strip?
Well, I like the Arsenal away kit they had at Stoke last week, the black. That was very nice.
Yes,
charcoal,
black
I
with
think
grey,
it is.
isn't it?
Yeah,
that was
charcoal with pink trim, I think.
Certainly one of my favourites.
Yeah, I believe so.
Bought that one?
I haven't, I must admit.
No, that is a good one.
Yeah.
There's some nice ones this year. I actually really like the Liverpool red. I think they've gone for a real sort of blood,
really classic,
scarlet red.
Have you seen Stoke's away kit?
No, I haven't.
You don't want to see Stoke's away kit.
Go on, describe it to me.
It's blue. It's got this horrible white collar. It looks more like a rugby kit.
There's two things that football shirts should not have. One is a collar, and the other is buttons. There should be no buttons anywhere near a football shirt.
Do you remember that Aston Villa one from the
with
early
the laces?
90s with the kind of drawstring?
Yeah, that's right. Well, Manchester United had that as well when they had that retro green and yellow one, didn't they? Yeah. Okay, Ed, your question is: if you were having a fresh long-term bet today, what would it be?
A fresh long-term bet. I'd say right now. Well, I'm stuck into PSG. I've been getting stuck into PSG all summer for Champions League, but they're gone into sixes now, and I think that's short enough on PSG. Even if they do acquire like Mbappe or Sanchez, it looks like they'll probably get one or the two of them. It'll probably be Mbappe, I'd say. But if I was to get stuck in now on the back of just Real, just look like a unbelievable machine at the minute, and we're seeing a lot of shrewd money for Real. We were 9-2. It's now 4-1 for the Champions League. Yeah, I'd be getting.
Have that as a saver for all your flash PSG. What's the biggest PSG price you got?
I got 16s at one stage during the summer.
Lovely. So you're going to have a little Rod Laver, are you, on Real?
Yeah, exactly. They just look so good at the minute. Like, you know what I mean? They swallowed aside still a decent Barcelona side. And I think the English teams are all too short in the Champions League as well myself.
Lovely stuff. Okay, James, which one are you going to go for? Presumably not the Carabao Cup one.
Barcelona are interesting. I mean, 7-1 for the Champions League, and you're still not really tempted just post Neymar. But they've always made weird signings. Kind of just looking at the players they picked up from Arsenal. Vermaelen and Alex Song and Alexander Hleb. Some very strange ones.
Silvinho,
yeah. And obviously kind of Paulinho is the latest one that certainly Premier League watchers will be raising an eyebrow over.
What, Deulofeu, obviously their player.
Well, that made sense financially because they were able to buy him for a really short, 9 million or something. They'd probably sell him somewhere for 20 odd. So.
Not sure about that. So what do you think they'll do then?
I think they will struggle to put pressure on Real. I mean, I wouldn't be getting stuck in at 8 to 15 for Real Madrid, but their recruitment policy over the last couple of years has been superb.
Indeed. Joe, which question do you want to answer?
I'll take the one about a fresh betting angle that you asked. I quite like the look of Milan in Italy each way. I think they've got a great young squad, and they've got, I can't remember the name of the striker, young striker they've got.
Petrone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he looks like a real prospect as well, and I'll take them each way. I think they're around 6-7-1.
Okay. Are you down on Juve?
I just think the teams behind them are very similarly matched, so I can see Milan certainly getting in the top two, and they can certainly challenge Juve, who, their defence is aged. Bonucci's gone, so. Yeah, he's gone to Milan, of course. So, yeah.
Okay, Milan for you. And Ed, which question are you going to answer?
I will take the Carabao Cup.
Good lad. Well
done.
done.
I'm also going to stick up for Joe as well because, in fairness, the draw took place last night in the middle of the night, and we missed it as well. There was a few shrewdies in overnight back at United at 15-2. So
very clever.
Yeah, we've cut it into sixes now because they've drawn Burton. Yeah, I think I think like United look like a decent bet to me. They've obviously started the season pretty well, albeit only 2 games. But they look massive. Like they're massive physically, and they look to have pace in the team now with Mkhitaryan firing as well. So yeah, they're 6-1 now. I wouldn't turn anybody off that because they'll be like 20s on against Burton to qualify. And also like I'd probably duck City for the time being. They have a tricky enough tie against West Brom away. Look, they'll still be a short price to qualify, but they're 13-2. And Eve Chelsea at 7-1. I mean Chelsea have a handy tie as well at home to Forest. So yeah, my 2 for the 2 of them would be Man United 6s and Chelsea at 7s as well.
I think with United as well, that squad is so deep, isn't it? He can rotate and still put a strong squad out, can't it? Which is obviously what he did last year, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously they had like Thursday night football last year. They don't have that this year, and that's another benefit to how United will probably improve as a team overall this season as well.
Okay, thank you, chaps. Let's get stuck into Saturday in just a mo.
Check out Paddy's new VIPP Club. Get a £10 free bet every week when you place 5 bets of £10 or more. Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shops. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Let's get stuck into the first of our live Premier League games at 12:30 on Saturday. It's Bournemouth versus Man City. Quick, they played for both clubs.
Sylvain Distin.
Well in, James Milton. Bournemouth are going to be a big old price here. They've started shakily and they are receiving the team who many people think are going to be champions. So, Ed Quigley, give us a show and then we'll stick with you for the first verdict of the weekend.
Okay, so it's 9-1 Bournemouth, 9-2 to draw, and City are 3-10. Yeah, there's no major injury concerns on either side. Walker's obviously suspended for City, but Danilo can slot in there perfectly. The last 4 times these teams have played, City have won by an aggregate score of 15-1, which is incredible. But and to be fair to City as well, I thought they looked pretty decent when they were down to 10 the other night against Everton. Like they were unlucky to draw the game in the end nearly, and they really had them on the back foot. So it's hard to look past City given Bournemouth's poor start, but obviously 3-10 wouldn't be for most people. It wouldn't be for me either. But I think the game might be tight from a goals perspective. Bournemouth have been struggling to score, and both City's opening 2 fixtures have gone under 2.5. So yeah, I think under 2.5 at 13-8 is worth a dabble myself.
James, what do you reckon?
I'm disagreeing with Ed on this one. I'm going City and both teams to score. I think as Ed mentioned, Bournemouth disappointing first couple of games. Lost at West Brom and at home to Watford. I think Eddie Howe might almost see this as a bit of a free hit. Go out there, be positive. The attacking approach, and the fans won't mind too much if they lose kind of 4-1.
Really? Do you think? I just want. There's 2 ways to that, isn't there? Because the one thing you might think is, look, we've had 2 bad results to start with. If we get Dick 5-0, we could be in real trouble.
I think what he's got there in terms of the squad. He's not really got the players to grind out wins, and you look at their stats against the big teams last season. They conceded 37 goals in 12 games, but they did give it a go. 4-3 against Liverpool, 3-3 against Arsenal. They lost 3-1 at home to Chelsea, Man United, and Southampton. So I can see that sort of scoreline with City's attacking quality obviously coming to the fore.
You're going City in both. What are you going for, Joe Champion?
The opposite for Milts. City to win to 0, 5-4. Bournemouth this season have had 4 shots on target in 2 games. City have looked a lot more assured now. I know Walker's missing, but as Ed said, Danilo can slot straight back in there. But Kompany at the back makes a huge difference for them. I think it's a bet that last season when he was out would be terrible, I think, but he marshals that defence and they should win the game. So 5-4 them to win to 0, that would do for me.
Okay, nice one. 5:30 Man United versus Leicester. Ed Quigley, how do you bet?
United are 3-10, the draw is 9-2, and Leicester are 10-1.
So we've got Man City 3-10, Man United at 3-10. James Milton, would you be tempted to lump on United at 3-10 here?
I'm not sure. I think this is going to be a good test for them. I mean, you can't argue with back-to-back 4-0 wins, but West Ham were very poor. They obviously United scored 3 late goals to put a nice gloss on the scoreline at Swansea. I mean, I think Swansea have had 1 shot on target in 2 games, so their defence wasn't really tested. I think Leicester have got the capacity, as they showed at Arsenal in the opening game of the season. Scored 3 there, scored 2 at home to Brighton in that victory. Scored 4 in the League Cup in midweek, and I think Jamie Vardy's going to be fit. You've got Iheanacho. Damari Gray, Slimani and Musa scored in the League Cup. So there are certainly plenty of attacking options, and I like the look of both teams to score at evens in this one.
Okie doke. Joe, what do you reckon?
Man United have won their first games, 2 games 4-0, but I'm not yet believing the hype really. You know, as Milt said, they've beaten a couple of poor sides. So, I expect Leicester to stay with them for the first half of the match at least. So we could see a similar scenario unfolding to the one that we saw against Swansea. So maybe Man United to be winning 1-0 at half-time is a decent price. I think it's 11-5, or 10-11 that the second half features more goals, because I think they will pull away in the second half.
Okay, good stuff. And Ed, what's your view on United so far this season? Are they going to do the old Mourinho always wins it in his second season, or are they slightly flattered by what we've seen?
I'd say last weekend they've had an easy start in terms of fixtures, but I suppose they have dealt with them very effectively. They're definitely improving though. I mean, Lukaku's obviously started very well, and then you've got I have a point here about Mkhitaryan. He's registered 3 more assists this season than he did in the whole of last season already. In 2 games, he always seems to be a second season merchant as well. Even when he was at Shakhtar, he kind of flopped the first season, then came good. Same at Dortmund, and he's doing it again. It seems that United just takes him a while to adapt, and maybe Mourinho's kind of similar from a managerial perspective too. So I do expect United to I think the title's between the 2 Manchester clubs and myself now at this stage. I wouldn't rule Chelsea out of it entirely, but I just think they have the squad depth and they can attack on all fronts. But in terms of this weekend's fixture, I agree entirely with James. I think both teams scored evens. Looks a cracking bet. I mean, Vardy looks like he will be fit after last weekend's knock, and Iheanacho and Iborra are back as well, which are huge. And then everything just points to goals in this game. Leicester have scored 14 in the 15 Premier League games that Shakespeare has been in charge, and as I said, Mkhitaryan has, he's firing in terms of assists, and then Lukaku has 15 goals in his last 11 home Premier League games, 13 and 10 for Everton and 2 and 1 for United. Definitely both teams score evens here. Looks like a cracking bet. And as I say almost every week now, Lukaku at 11-4 first goal score and 4-5 anytime looks cracking value as well. And
before we do the naps, any other Premier League bets on Saturday that you think might make useful components to someone's ACCA? James, anything from you?
I was quite taken by 13-8 Huddersfield draw no bet at home to Southampton. I mean, Southampton not the most ruthless side in the division, and Huddersfield obviously buzzing after their first couple of wins. And Southampton lost at Palace, Swansea, Burnley and Hull last season. So, these kind of fixtures they can slip up in.
OK, Joe, anything from you?
Yeah, I agree. Huddersfield around the 3-1 mark just to win the game is probably a decent bet. Southampton, they won last week, but they weren't that good. West Ham had more shots and had 10 men for most of the game.
So. OK, 2 votes for Huddersfield. Anything from you, Eddie?
Yeah, I think Watford at 10-11 looks a decent bit of value against Brighton at home. Yeah, I've been impressed with Watford so far. Obviously, they won at Bournemouth away last weekend and they drew 3-3 with Liverpool in the opening day of the season. So, and Brighton were very poor against Leicester from what I hear last weekend. So, yeah, I think that looks decent value to me.
Is there they played for both clubs there? Watford, Brighton?
Watford,
Brighton. That's a tough one, that, isn't it? I'm struggling there. I'm really struggling with that one.
If only Dan Child was here, I'm sure
he'd know. You can always blurt it out if it comes up at any point. Just say, OK, let's get the naps.
This will not be beaten.
Now then, Ed and James, we can boast, can't? Because last week we were 4 from 4, weren't we?
We were, I think.
Absolutely fantastic. I think the fourfold came to 50-1. Many thanks to the fella who tweeted me a bet slip. I think he had a £10 treble on yours, Ed's and Mark's. He said he never does mine. So a nice little 25-1 winner, but it could have been so much better. Never mind, let's go again. We'll start with you, Joe. The pressure's on.
Wigan, I think they're 10-11 with Paddy Power to beat Portsmouth. I think there's bigger out there though. Paul Cook has done a good job since he's taken over there in the summer. Of course, it's his old club coming to the DW, but 3 wins from 3, plenty of goals, and he's brought in a few good players on freebies and decent loan signings. So Pompey haven't started that well, and it's a hard place to go.
OK. Wigan for Joe. Who for you, Mark? I'm sorry, James.
I'm going for Exeter to win at Cheltenham. I think Lango opposed Cheltenham quite correctly last weekend. They got thumped at Carlisle. They've lost at Morecambe, who are anti-post relegation favourites. very lucky to beat Crawley, who are another side destined to struggle in League Two. And they even lost to West Ham in the League Cup in midweek, so things going badly for them. And Exeter have taken 7 points from 3 tough-looking fixtures, and around 6-4 for the away win there. Looks very nice.
And Ed, what's your nap?
Yeah, I'm the same as Joe. I have Wigan here in front of me at 10-11 as well. I mean, Paul Cook's facing his old side, and Will Grigg can't even get in the side, and at this level he should be a quality striker. Pompey for a stuttering start. Yeah, Wigan at 10-11 looks massive. I'll just give a next best as well, just in case.
Yeah, please do.
I'll go with Middlesbrough at 8-11 to beat Preston. I just think Middlesbrough have been very unlucky so far at the start of this season, and 8-11 against Preston looks big enough to me.
Okay, I am going to go for West Ham at 6-5, draw no bet at Newcastle. I'm very, very down on Newcastle. I think there's a lot of things wrong there. Morale's bad. Don't think they've got the firepower, whereas I think Chicharito will score plenty for West Ham. So in a tight game, I just think West Ham's superior goal potential will be decisive. Okay, those are the naps. Here's the competition. If you want to win a £25 or €25 bet with Paddy Power, you can do every week. All you have to do is answer the question and tweet your answer using the hashtag Postcast. Last week's winner is Emmett McCabe from Blaney. Where's Blaney, producer Jack?
I think it could be a misspelling of Blarney.
Blarney. Okay. Righty-ho. Okay, jolly good. Today's question is, who was sent off on their home debut during Monday's Man City versus Everton game? The winner will be announced in next Thursday's Football Postcast and will have the free bet credited to their Paddy Power account. You can open an account at the Racing Post app or at paddypower.com.
Check out Paddy's new VIPP Club. Get a £10 free bet every week when you place 5 bets of £10 or more. Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shops. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
It's the Racing Post Weekend Football Postcast. Bruce Millington, James Milton, Joe Champion and Paddy Power's Ed Quigley. Looking ahead to 2 live televised Premier League games on Sunday, starting at 1:30. I don't think this is the one that's going to get the highest viewing figures. 4 o'clock, we've got Liverpool v Arsenal. 1:30, we've got West Brom versus Stoke. So you're kind of thinking dour. You think it's going to be a bit of a rumbustious affair. Not that many goals, maybe. One might edge it, but we'll see whether the lads have got any great bets. And first of all, we'll get the prices from Ed Quigley.
Yeah, so it's West Brom are 7-5, the draw is 21-10, and Stoke are 9-4.
This is a tricky one, Joe Champion, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I don't think any of us will be expecting too many goals in this, but I looked through it. The last 10 meetings, I think only 2 of the 10 have featured more than 2 goals. So it's no surprise that it's priced up at 1-2, that there's under 2.5 goals in this game. So, the match betting looks about right as well. 7-5. West Brom is, factoring a home advantage, seems about on the money. So staying with goals, I think you can expect it to come later in the game, really. So, Paddy Power's time of first goal, 34 minutes. That seems like a decent mark. Maybe should be a little bit higher. 7-5 as well, so that's a decent enough price. The only worry is that they don't score after that. So
yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it? I suppose if you get to the 34-minute mark, you can then have a little save on 0-0, can't you? Yeah. Good. I like your thinking there, James. What have you got for us on this one?
I'm actually quite sweet on West Brom in this one. As Joe says, I don't think anyone's expecting a festival of flowing football. But West Brom were so strong at home against the weaker teams last season. Won 7 of 10 against teams below them, including a 1-0 win over Stoke. They've had 1-0 victories at Bournemouth and Burnley, obviously, this season. So that kind of correct scoreline leaps out at you, 1-0 West Brom. And Stoke, they scored 17 in 19 away games last season, lost 1-0 at Everton, mugged Arsenal, frankly, with 23% of possession in that game. And they're not going to find the baggies quite such a soft touch as Arsenal. So I quite like West Brom just in the match betting. And if you're having a correct score, then it's got to be 1-0, I think.
What are you thinking, Ed?
Yeah, I agree with James. I think West Brom price looks pretty big as well myself. I think both teams have acquired well defensively. This year, Higazi's started off pretty well for West Brom, and you've Kurt Zouma, who looks a decent loan signing from Chelsea, and you've the return of Bruno Martins-Indy as well for Stoke. So yeah, defensively they're both pretty sound. But at the prices, I definitely fancy West Brom. Look, I don't think it'll be a cracker at all. I think we'd all testify to that. But West Brom score 2 and they haven't conceded yet. So So I was looking at West Brom to win and 1 or 2 goals in the match at 3-1. That looks a decent bet to me. And also I give Jay Rodriguez a shout as well at 9-2 for first goal scorer. He starts up top on his own, but he's so far anyway this season, and he's starting to look like the striker of 2014, and he scored as well during the week during Carabao Cup, so he should be buzzing.
So if the 1:30 game is dour, the 4 o'clock game should be a real cracker, shouldn't it? Liverpool versus Arsenal. How are you betting now, Ed Quigley?
Yeah, it's Liverpool 11-10, the draw is 13-5, and Arsenal 23-10.
Stick with you, Ed. What's going to happen?
Yeah, well, Sanchez looks like he might start for the first time this season. Well, that's what Wenger was saying this morning anyway. Coutinho more than likely won't play again. I fancy Liverpool here. Like, I think we've mentioned it a few times in this podcast historically anyway. Like, just Liverpool teams that come at them or attack them, essentially. Like, it actually suits Liverpool better. And, yeah, I just think they both look vulnerable defensively. So, like, yeah, it'd be Liverpool for me. And I'd probably go with Liverpool and both teams to score, seeing Liverpool are quite vulnerable as well at the back, or they very much looked that way last night as well. So Liverpool and both teams score at 5-2. Also, Firmino's got 3 and 4 against Arsenal, and he can be back to any time at 7-4 as well.
Do you think he's put on a bit of weight, Firmino, over the summer, chaps? It just looks a little
Maybe he's
bit...
bulked up.
Yeah, well, yeah, certainly. Yeah, I mean, he just looks, a little bit Mickey Quinn to me. James, what do you fancy in this one?
Yeah, I think Liverpool at odds against is a very tempting price, really. I mean, they were outstanding against the big teams last season, unbeaten against the top 8. They beat Tottenham, Manchester City and Arsenal at Anfield. And as Ed says, I think Arsenal will just play into Liverpool's hands, really. Liverpool play the way Arsenal are trying to, but they've just got more pace and quality going forward. I mean, they played in midweek, but effectively had that tie wrapped up after 20 minutes. So I don't think that'll be...
Still running around like blue-ass flies. I mean, they just don't know how to play at a slow tempo, do they, Liverpool?
I just think that their forward players will be the difference. I mean, Arsenal, as we've already seen this season, it's the same old story. They concede soft goals. They don't take their chances. Other than that, it's great.
I think you've been too pessimistic. I think the Arsenal defence is better than the Liverpool defence. I think the Liverpool defence is absolutely pathetic, and I think Arsenal are going to win this. So there. What do you think, Joe?
No, I agree with James and Ed. I was looking not only at Liverpool's great record against teams in the top 7, but also Arsenal's poor away record against teams in the top 7. I think last season they lost 5 and drew with Man United. So, I don't want to get too down on Arsenal. They play well.
Everyone else does. Don't feel guilty about it, mate.
Well, we all like to beat Arsenal up, but when they're on song, they're brilliant.
I've got no idea. Honestly, I'm going to have a little rant here. The way the media and everyone on social media has a go, if you compare the two teams, Liverpool and Arsenal, to me, there's nothing much between them at all. And yet Arsenal, every time they get a bad result, they get absolutely slaughtered and Wenger gets annihilated. Liverpool can do no wrong in the eyes of the media, and I don't think it's fair. And I hope that Arsenal, I tell you what, if they go there and win, I will love it. Anyway,
sorry. It's gone on too long at Arsenal, though. No.
Well, I disagree. I just disagree. I think
James would probably be best placed to answer this.
No, he's not, because he's an Arsenal fan and they're biased. But, Klopp never gets criticised. Wenger always gets criticised. It does my head in.
I must say, Klopp's image is like this happy-go-lucky. Some of his behaviour on the touchline is appalling, actually.
Yeah.
I really
goads people, doesn't he?
Don't like that.
Totally agree. Anyway, sorry. So what are we going? What's the bet, Joe?
Liverpool to win and both teams to score. I think the way they opened up Hoffenheim last night as well was very impressive. Hoffenheim are a hard team to break down as well. I mean, they had to chase the game, but still they absolutely annihilated them going forward. So I'll go for that.
OK, you've got 2 professional football tipsters and a professional football odds compiler going for Liverpool very strongly, or a mug going for Arsenal. You take your choices there. Anything else on Sunday that you like, James?
No, nothing.
OK, Joe?
Not particularly, no.
Ed, anything for you on Sunday?
No, nothing for me really either, yeah.
Oh, glad I asked that. Right, OK, don't forget we are back next Thursday with another Racing Post football postcast. Do, if you like us, go on to iTunes, subscribe, review and whatever else you do on iTunes. And we'll be back next week.
Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus, available to use online, at ATMs or even down the local. Paddy Power, you beauty.